So the theme of this year's World Robotic Conference is this: win-win collaborative innovation towards the building of intelligent society. Dr. Huang first, how do you interpret this intelligent society? What does it entail?
I think for the intelligent society, for people living there, their life should be very convenient. Lots of work and will be done by robots and also by automation. And also the whole society should be very efficient.
And Dr. Gong, your interpretation of the intelligent society?
I totally agree. I think it's absolutely true as more and more automation and robotic technology is being used in a lot of daily aspects. A lot of tedious jobs can be handled by robots, can be handled by automation solutions, and people will be released from these tedious jobs and start doing more creative work.
Let's talk about this. The bot economy is so hot right now, but Dr. Huang, brief us on the status quo of the robotic industry, because a lot of the robots we see in China are imported from Japan or Germany, but what's the bigger picture look like?
I think when we look at the robots, and then I think the two categories. One is industrial, and there's lots of robots already being used in the industry for automation purpose, like in assembly line, etc. And another one is for the consumer use. Now people pay more and more attention about this robotics. Technology and robots get used and for the consumer applications. I think the trend will be we'll see more and more these kind of things, and also artificial intelligence and got used and in this and automation and the robots.
And Dr. Gong, you kind of agree the service robots and industrial robots are the next hot trend?
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially nowadays, you can see a lot of robots are being used in logistics. When you click online, purchase something, actually there are so many robots, hundreds of robots moving around in the warehouses. People might not just have been aware of these robots already being used in these logistics sectors. And of course, as the technology of robotics being more and more mature, a lot of these technologies can be used for service purposes, like being used in shops, restaurants, and museums, and a lot of people can directly benefit from interacting with these robots.
But how do you guys envision the future? I mean, Dr. Huang, do you think the world will be completely automated someday?
I'm not quite sure it will be 100% automated, but automation will be a lot more popular than today. We can expect a lot of work today we have been doing will be replaced by either robots or by automation.
And where does China's robotic technology stand?
I think we can separate them out into two categories. One is hardware, the other one is software. I think if on the hardware side, as you correctly pointed out, I think China is still lacking a lot of key components. We still need import from Japan or Germany. However, on the software side, I think China has been doing quite well. And then I think China is not further behind, maybe on par with world leader in terms of software side. In terms of applications, and I think China will do very well in terms of application using those robots. That's my view.
Dr. Gong, do you agree? What is the biggest competitive edge when it comes to China's robotic technology?
Yes, so I agree. China really starts the China really starts the manufacturing, starts the industrial revolution later than the Western countries. And a lot of these like hardware manufacturing technologies requires a lot of accumulation, iterations, and the polishment by getting feedbacks from the markets. And China is really trying hard to catch up in terms of these manufacturing technologies in building these hardwares for robots. On the software side, nowadays the AI revolution or the AI technology is booming. And China is indeed participating in the top tier game and have the world leading researchers, world leading companies developing the most impressive, most advanced AI systems as well. So we can see as China through a lot of getting feedbacks from the market through the iterations of building generations and generations of robots, they will have very polished software through acquisition or through their own development. China will start building very good hardwares as well. So I can see a future China will start producing the most advanced robotic systems in the world.
But now talking about robots, the first thing came to a lot of people's mind is the possibility of it replacing jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Huang, are we ready for this? How should we prepare for it?
I don't know if we're ready for that, but this is coming and to our side, and then regardless, I think we're going to see more and more jobs and maybe replaced by AI or robots. And there is an article, and people are speculating or anticipating some says 50% of the jobs will be replaced by AI in next 10 to 20 years. Somebody gave even higher number. But regardless, I think a lot of work and today and people are doing will be replaced by AI and robots. That's for sure.
Dr. Gong, is it something to fear? What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, so I think definitely for sure, the purpose of developing robots is to replace some of the labor-intense and tedious jobs, so that we can release people and start doing more creative jobs with more fun. And I can see a lot of nowadays jobs will be replaced, and there will be, in order to elevate this situation, this is not a purely technical issue. The government need to start putting regulations, need to start thinking forward, how to get people trained, how do people to get the correct skills to prepare for the robotic automation solutions to come.
So be more specifically, let me give you the numbers. Approximately 100 million people are now employed in manufacturing here in China, and that sector accounts for almost 36% of China's gross domestic product. While in the United States, the number is around 12 million. Dr. Huang, what will happen to this workforce?
I think short-term wise, and the impact will not be very big, but long-term wise, I expect to see quite a big impact to this number of the workforce, as you mentioned. I think we already see some of the trend happening in China. Take e-commerce as example, and you found that and it's e-commerce bring a lot of convenience for consumer. On the other hand, a polarized workforce. You found the people who have computer skills, and they can find lots of jobs and then better jobs. But on the other hand, and then you found that we use a lot of people purely for delivery. That cannot be, say, very good jobs. And so we already see e-commerce bring the workforce in like a polarized, into two sides of it, polarized the workforce. I think with the AI coming in, may even further polarize the workforce. I think that's the challenge for all of us.
Dr. Go, what do you make of this?
Yes, so yeah, I can think a good portion of the current manufacturing jobs will be replaced by automation technology, by robots. Just by taking the famous Foxconn factory as an example, they have already started deploy robots in a massive scale and have replaced many jobs. But people should not be too concerned about that as long as we're very well prepared for this. Like taken in the first industrial revolution as an example, people were very concerned about the machines will replace the jobs. But if you think these machines are the tools to help people to do more things, to do greater things, actually the robots can be treated the same. The robots can help people to do more stuff, and the people should change their mindset, change their vision, change how they work with the robots, how to use the robots, and start doing high-scale, more creative jobs. And I believe with the collaboration between the academia, the industry, the government, we will figure out a good solution to replace these, not only to improve the productivity, also to find a good route so that people will still be very well employed.
Well, it seems like it's an unstoppable trend now, but Let me read this to our viewer and to you both, and then get your response to this. So fears about the rise of AI and the risk posed by machines have escalated in recent years as technologies used in warfare develops. So Elon Musk and other technology leaders have issued a stark warning about so-called killer robots, urging the United Nations to act to prevent a high-term arms race. Now, Elon Musk said everything that's a danger to the public is regulated, and AI should not be an exception, adding that AI is much more risky than the DPRK, but some say it is already too late to regulate. Dr. Huang, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that there are two schools of thought on this. One is represented by Musk, and they think that AI is very dangerous. There is another school of thought thinking that AI is okay, and also have a famous and leader on that side.
Where do you stand?
Personally, I'm not opinionated yet because I see the AI is unprecedented and technology development, and in facing us. We don't know how AI is going to pan out and in the next 10 or 20 years. But personally, I'm optimistic about the future. I think we can find a solution to cope with that. I think the real danger may not be necessarily the robots and then replace the people or killing people. Actually, before that, we already see the danger. For example, today people can, for example, you're wearing a helmet and then with some stimulant on your brain, and then you can make yourself feel really calm and comfortable. So that kind of half machine, half man, and it's already here. It's reality today. That's also quite a risk. And then we, as a human being, may get controlled and actually by this machine, and then we may addict to that. So that actually is a real danger, and then may happen earlier than the killer robots, for example.
Dr. Gong, which camp do you stand on this issue? Is it dangerous, or is it, the friend of human? And is it possible to make autonomous technology system absolutely safe and ethical?
So I think there's always a risk associated with any new technology. First of all, I'm optimistic about robotics technology, AI technology, and we should embrace the coming of these technologies. That's my opinion. And I do not deny the fact that it can be dangerous. Like, for example, if you invent a car, it can hit people on the road, and it is a dangerous situation. And also, I definitely agree with Elon Musk. We should start proposing some strategies, regulations on how we use these technologies, how we make sure these technologies are safe. And these are two different perspectives. Like, for example, the purpose of military robots is for inspection, surveillance, and sometimes even to kill some people. And that's the intention, that's the danger come from the intention of these technology, or how to use these technology rather than the technology itself. And second, a lot of researchers start experiencing the problem, like taking the AI or deep neural network as an example. A lot of time people do not or have not yet grabbed the deep understanding of the working principle of these technology. And a lot of times people will see unexpected consequences. The program itself is following exact instructions of human programmed, but the consequence can be very dangerous. So we should start thinking about technologies, regulations to make sure before we deliver these systems into the human society, we should make sure they're safe enough. And we need the regulation to ensure that happens.
We have very little time, but there's another concern I want to address. There's another concern that a robot can be easily hacked, Dr. Huang. If hacked, a home robot can even attack its owners, right? It raises the question about allowing these robots into homes, into offices, into factories. Is there a way to solve this?
I think that the network security, and it's a real challenge for all of us, with or without robots in our home. I think there's a common challenge we all have to cope with. I think we probably cannot say, and because the robots can be hacked, and then so we do not use them at home. I think that's probably too negative. All we need to do is make sure, and then the robot is safe, and also we have some emergency control just in case and what happens and on the robots. But I think it just because and the network security and it's a challenge, we just do not use the robots. That's probably not the right way.